Welcome, friends, to Tanked Up, the podcast about video games and beer. I'm one of your hosts, Ben. It's episode 271, and I'm here with Lucy.
I'm here also.
Good. And also here is Aadil.
Yes, I am here as well.
Excellent, excellent. If you haven't listened to us before and you're joining us for the first time, we are a podcast all about video games and craft beer. We sit around, we share some beers, we have a chat about them whilst talking about what we've been playing or any interesting news in the gaming scene. We're here every week, and you should probably join us every week and subscribe to us and do all of the things that you do on your podcast service, on YouTube, and all of those places. Just search for Tanked Up or Out of Lives and you will find us. So, first, as we do each and every week, let's crack some beers open. Lucy, you got some beers this week?
No. I'm having my second vaccine tomorrow, so
Fair.
we'll stay beer free.
Staying beer free. I had my second vaccine about an hour and a half ago.
All right.
And I'm,
Congratulations.
as I do with everything, I'm just going to drink through it.
Hey!
Why not?
So, saying that, why don't I crack open my first beer? I am drinking a collaboration brewed at Newtown Park. This is a collaboration with Verdant, who have semi-moved in with Newtown Park, using their brewery, the brewing space cum tap room as a Verdant sort of tap room, selling some of their beers through that and their cans and things. And I don't know if this is the first collaboration with Newtown Park and Verdant, but it's the first one that I've seen, so I thought I'd crack it open. It's called Emerging from the Mist. It's a double IPA. It's 8%. I love that can art. It's so simple.
Oh, nice. I love it. Is
has-
it slightly darker in the middle of the circle, or is
Yes.
that just the lighting?
No, it is,
Yeah.
yes. It
Cool.
It's got a little bit of flavour text. We brewed this New England double IPA with heaps of flaked and malt oats, making for a creamy and pillowy mouthfeel. Intensely dry hopped. It has an incredibly soft finish with a residual sweetness. Tropical fruits, ripe mango, juicy orange, with an eternal dank. Oh no, I can't read tonight at all. An ethereal dankness. A collab with our friends at Verdant to celebrate our new joint taproom in Bristol. It's got Citra, Strata, Idaho 7, and Sabro in it. That's pretty much everything, apart from saying it's got barley, wheat, and oats in too. So I will open this one up. Aadil, what are you jumping into this evening?
This thing. I'm drinking this thing from Two Chefs Brewery. It's a double dry hopped hazy IPA called Wetland Haze. Stop and smell the tulips with this hazy IPA from the land below sea level, where windmills and bicycles prevail and coffee shops offer more than just coffee. Heaps of hops give this mighty juicy brew punchy aromas and subtle hints of mango, pine, and a tinge of tangy citrus. Roast. Yeah. So if you couldn't guess, Two Chefs Brewing is, I think, a relatively new, and by that I mean, well, I lived there, 9 years ago. It wasn't there then.
When was the last
I'm
time
feeling.
when was the last time you went?
Oh.
That's more recent.
Sometime in the past
I mean,
5 years?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have been last year, would it? Because of everything that kicked off, so...
I don't remember last time I went. I've been to the Netherlands in the past 5 years, but yeah. Oh, yeah. I definitely flew by and had a day or so with my friend Simon putting me up. I remember this now. And we had a night of craft beers, and I sent you guys a bunch of pictures on the Discord, I think. So yeah, within the past years.
Good.
3 years, probably.
Yeah.
Excellent, cool. I should probably pour this beer, shouldn't I? Let you see what it looks like, let you know what it's like. Ooh.
I'm guessing hazy.
I mean, it is. It's interesting that it pours sort of very translucent,
Oh.
but it's very, very frothy, very heady. It
lovely.
is nice and hazy. It has a little bit more of an orange hint to it. I know the beer did say it had an orangey taste to it as well, but it matches that as well in the flavour, in the colour. Sorry. Nose wise, it's nice. It's nice, very light, definitely orange on the nose. again, is that just a bit of bias because it's looking orange as well? Is my brain automatically pulling notes of orange because the tin said it and it's orangey in its colour? No, they're definitely there. Ooh, that's nice. Ooh, that's very nice. So, it does start off quite light, but almost instantly, this kind of resinous, piney bitterness jumps in and sits at the back, and it is lovely and soft. It has got lots of tropical fruit, some sort of citrus and orange in there as well. Lots of lovely little fruit combinations in there. I think it said there's some ripe mango, which is probably adding again to that little bit of bitterness too. But I like that it kind of, jumps in with that sort of dank bitterness in there as well, but still showcasing kind of those two levels of the beer rather than it flowing into it. It's like, here is everything going on, but you're getting lots of stuff from these. We're showcasing those fruity flavours and also then giving you this big bitter finish in there too. But it's not even the finish, it's big bitterness kind of throughout. So that's very nice. That's lovely.
Not as nice as my tea, I bet.
I highly doubt it. I don't get much of the 8%. I think that's probably being masked by that kind of by that bitterness, which has started to present a little bit smoky as well. So it is it's a very dank, resinous, kind of piney bitterness in there, but just a couple of hints of sort of smokiness too. And it doesn't. What I find really interesting is it is bitter, but it doesn't take away from how soft the beer is. So you're still getting how lovely and light everything is, even though it's got this kind of what I would sort of say is more of a heavy kind of flavour to it. But it's just very well made. That's excellent. Newtown Park X Verdant, just brew all your beers together. Don't worry about it anymore. I just have this every day. Fine. Done. Don't need anything else.
It does look good. Yeah, I'm going to try and get my hands on that one.
Didn't see any brew dates on because I didn't look, but packaged on the 18th of the 5th, best before the 18th of the 10th. So it's about 6 weeks old.
Yeah, so may not be the first, as you say, given how quickly they churn these things out nowadays.
True, yeah.
Yeah, but still fresh.
Cool. Aadil, we'll come to you. Was it two chefs? That's an odd name for a brewery.
Who are the two chefs?
It is.
Guy Fieri.
Two Chefs Brewing. Brew, the way chefs chef food. For real, we believe brewing is a culinary art, so we create each beer like an artwork. It's creative expression you can taste. Like true chefs, we're passionate about our craft and are constantly hunting for new and exciting flavors. All work and no play? Oh, hell no. We also love cracking beers with friends and blasting banging tunes. Our mission, brew super tasty beer to tickle your taste buds and complement your lifestyle. Drink beer. Drink it fresh. Drink Two Chefs. Cheers. Still don't know why it's called Two Chefs.
No.
I mean, I do. There's obviously two of them, and they're borrowing the notion of chefing.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should have just
actual chefs, and they've expanded into the beer world.
I mean, it's
and I'm super curious.
Slightly better than something just like Lamppost Brewery, isn't it? I mean, so many breweries now, you've kind of just got to pick a word out of the air and take that as your name. So,
I know I've read a lot of it, but I actually just noticed on the store Cold and Drink Fresh that they actually have some hop. So they said we added Chinook and Citra in the Whirlpool, double dry hopped with Citra, Mosaic, and Nelson Sauvin. So, they're quite a melange. It poured very fizzy. You can see just how badly the pour went just by it clinging to the glass. So I'm glad Ben had lots to say about his. It is easy, but it's a little more honey colored and a little with a bit of orange than I think the screen is letting on. It's got a lovely aroma. Light. There's a hint of pine at the bottom, but it's mostly just a sweet citrus, and mango. Just a nice mango. I don't know why I started with the two little bits. It's a mango thing with a hint of pine and a light citrus sweetness as well.
Nice.
Oh, that is what this sunny day wanted.
It's not sunny here. Well, it's been a bit sunny, and then there's just like these grey clouds that look like the apocalypse is coming.
So it's very juicy.
The apocalypse.
Hopefully.
It's very juicy.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I mean, depending on
Sign
how
me up.
you define juice, people will explode.
Just human pulp.
Yeah. Might have to be somewhere in the episode title. What was I saying? Sorry, I'm distracted by human pulp. I even brought up the image, but somehow Lucy's label made the image like recur and be much more visceral. Very strange the way the human mind works. What was I saying? Beer, good.
It was juicy.
It's juicy. Yeah, it's juicy. Has a light tropical note to the juice. That citrus is mostly just on the nose. So there's
Okay.
that sweetness isn't there, which I actually kind of prefer because it's letting the resinous, piney bitterness come through. And so you've got this really nice, airy is the wrong term. This light, tropically juice is sitting like kind of like floating on top of this resinous foundation. It's very, very tasty. The Wetland Haze. I'm really happy with this. I think if that citrus was there, it might have made it a little muddled. I actually quite like that there's sort of two distinct things going on that are kind of playing nice but not intertwined. They're just sort of doing their own thing, and you can kind of tune into one and the other until you're just left with this slightly more faded, bitter, piney, resinous finish. Yeah, this is really excellent.
Good. We have incredibly similar sounding beers this evening.
So Aadil, what would you pair it with food-wise? Since it's the two chefs.
Oh God. What do you
Love a
have
beer.
with citrus?
Duck.
Actually, it's more juicy, mango-y, isn't it? Tropical. I don't know, like sticky rice and a banana leaf.
Yeah, I'll take that.
There's got to be
A nice,
something else going on in there.
Coconut curry or something.
Yeah,
I like
like
it.
a light coconut curry, like not a really spicy one, but like
Yeah.
soaked
Little bit of
into
spice.
the sticky rice.
Mhm.
Yeah, let that mango come through. The only thing I was wondering about was where that pininess would sit with food. I think that would still work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Good choice.
Nice.
Panic. Somehow we've gone 271 episodes and never really actually somehow had that question, which yeah.
Maybe
I
one
like
day
I'm gonna start
that could
thinking
just
more.
be an episode one day. We can all just sit here and eat and just pair beers with some food.
I like pairing food with beers. It's usually just a saison with anything, to be honest.
That's fair.
So, I'm feeling fancy, I'll get a saison on it.
I mean, you get like a
Or a
hearty
lambic.
pie with like a, I'd say more of a porter than a stout, just because you don't want to go
Something a bit
too
lighter.
hearty, you know? Yeah.
Or like a, Pilsner lager with a curry. Typical. But it works,
Or like a Coors Light and a trip to the loo.
Yeah. Depending on
Good.
which establishment you're in, yeah.
Yes, that's true. Good. So they are the beers that Aadil and I are going to drink this evening. Let's jump in then to talking about games this week. Lucy, I will come to you first to regale us with whatever it is you want to talk about this week.
I shall speak about Ender Lilies in a bit. I've been watching that GDQ,
Oh yeah.
which is on
Oh, excellent! Yeah. For those who don't know,
really
that's games done quirkily.
Yes, or just games done quick. Yeah, it's on twice a year. They have one in January time called Awesome Games Done Quick, and this is like the one they have in the summer. All money goes to the charity of their choice. This it's usually Doctors Without Borders, as it is this year, but yeah, it's just 24/7 speedrunning streams for an entire week, and I'm sleep deprived because I've been working all day and just been watching stream runs all day and all night, up till like 3 a.m. last night, watching I can't even remember what because I was tired. And I don't remember things when I'm tired. But
I've jumped into it occasionally to just see kind of what's going on. But do they must chuck up sort of like a schedule?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a schedule, and they chuck up each stream as a VOD afterwards. So if you just go on their YouTube page, they'll all be there after about, probably about, give it 18 hours, and they'll all be up there. Yeah, there've been some fascinating ones. People playing a racing game that's controlled by your voice, and you just hear this guy humming for like 15 minutes straight.
Oh, wow.
You have people playing like Battletoads blindfolded, people playing Sonic 3D Blast, like two people, one each one has a hand on one controller, so it's two of them playing
amazing.
together on the one controller. Yeah, it's just absolutely nuts. But the one that I love watching speedrunning. I think it's fascinating, and the community and all the tech around it. It's just these very skillful, talented people. But I would never do it because I don't have the dexterity, I don't have the time or patience. I don't think there's a game that I love that much that I'd want to speedrun. But the one that got me yesterday was the stream, the speedrun for Geoguessr.
Oh yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know, Geoguessr is basically it's a I guess you could call it trivia puzzle game. It's basically they drop you anywhere in the world using Google Maps satellite imagery, and you have to figure out where you are. So you can basically move around on like Street View and gauge, okay, what line, which way is the traffic flowing, what language the signs are in, etc., etc., and figure out where you are, and then say, okay, I think I'm here, and it'll score you on how close you are to the actual location. Sort of like where in the world is Carmen San Diego, but with Google Street Maps and imagery. Real world.
It's a browser game as well, right?
Yeah. It's a browser game.
It's old.
Yeah, it's old because I remember playing it years ago. I think now it's like you can only play so many a day, and then you have to pay for like premium because they need to like obviously stream these. Well, get the data from Google and stream it and stuff like that. So, but yeah, the speed run, it was basically you needed to get a perfect score because it's like you have 5 locations, and to get a perfect score, you have to be within, I think it's 100. It's 180 meters or something like that of where it actually is in the world. And as I was saying, like speedrunning, I probably wouldn't get into it because I'm not saying it's a waste of time, but it would be me wasting my time. Because I'm not like I probably wouldn't have like a community, a Twitch channel, and all that like these speedrunners do, and curate that kind of like income and community and stuff like that. But with Geoguessr, I would. What was that?
Family.
Yes. Don't have family to share my speedrunning tactics with, but Geoguessr, I would love to play this more. I played, no, because it doesn't feel like a waste of time to me because it's like real world knowledge that you're learning.
Yeah.
The techniques and the knowledge that this guy has, it isn't just like the typography and terrain of where you are and having that visual, acumen. It's more he knows like, okay, this is what the poles look like in Malaysia. This is what, uh, this is, the different lights on the cars. If it, on the police cars, if the red light is on this side and the blue light's on,
That's nuts.
it means it's this north part of the country rather than. It's just crazy, and it's like, okay, to be honest, knowing all that rubbish is just as useless as knowing how to speedrun Sonic 3D Blast. Just as useless, probably even more so. Because when am I ever going to be like, oh, I know what side of the road they drive on in Peru? Who cares? Nobody cares. Like, but in my mind, it feels like less of a waste of time learning that because it's real world stuff. So
Yeah.
I was just absolutely fascinated, and I was playing whilst I was watching the streams. I was playing Geo Guesser last night, and I got a perfect score because I knew where Jarrow was in the UK.
Amazing.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
how
I was
do
plopped
you?
down next to a pub, and it had like Jarrow there, and I was like, I know where that is. That's in the northeast somewhere, and it's like
Nice.
near Newcastle, and I was able to get it from there. The rest, I didn't do great on.
So how I can't now. I thought GeoGuessr just kept going, but I guess there's a number of rounds.
Yeah, there's a number.
Am I
of
misremembering it? Yeah. Okay. So the
there
speed
might be
running
other-
is
yeah,
a bit
get
of
perfect
RNG.
score for. Yeah, I think he actually did like a seed that was like curated by a human, because otherwise, if it's a robot, it's like I think some of the images can be like skewed, like people change the images and stuff like that. So it was like it's still a seed of like 1 in 10,000 or something like that. But
Right.
it's like yeah. But I think there's like different modes and stuff like that.
I had a quick look last night as well
country.
after you'd mentioned it, Lucy, and I kind of jumped into the UK one because I thought I'll start local. I'll do the UK one, and my first one I got within 95 kilometers, I think, because I kind of I had a look at and it was like a country road with no cars on it, and I was like, right, okay, it's pretty flat. There's hedgerows, there's farmland, there's fields. It's roughly it could be anywhere in the UK. I'm gonna pick just north of London, kind of in the middle, and it was kind of just a little bit north towards sort of Coventry kind of way.
Okay.
And it wasn't that far off. Next one I did, I was like 400 kilometers out because I was like, oh, this must be like
That's the whole of the UK, but
yeah, I know,
Yeah.
exactly. It was like right in the north
You're
of
in the
Scotland,
Hebrides.
and I'd clicked in like the middle of the country or something like that. But it did limit the amount of rounds that I could play. It said you've reached your limit for today. Come back tomorrow, or I think is it purchase a monthly subscription to it to have it unlocked completely.
yeah, or annual.
Yeah.
I think it's quite cheap. I mean, for people who like want to play this like on a daily basis, like it's fairly cheap. I think it's like £2.99 a month or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So yeah, it's reasonable. But yeah, it's just because the first one I did now was like, yeah, it was was it yesterday? Getting back into it, I was just like, oh yeah, this is a French speaking place because the signs are in French. And then I realized, oh, because I know French. I was like, this isn't France French. This is another French.
Nice.
And I knew it wasn't Canada because it wasn't weird, wacky French.
I mean, you're not wrong.
And so I don't know any of that French. I was like, oh, okay, it's it's snowy here, so it's unlikely to be the south of France. And the typography looked like, oh, quite hilly. This is probably somewhere near the Alps or something. So
Switzerland.
I went for Switzerland, and it was just like a couple 100 kilometers up north in like Luxembourg. So it's like,
Okay.
it's just great using. It's sort of like Return of the Obra Dinn, like using your real world knowledge to figure out
Yeah.
these pointless puzzles.
And it must be the guy who speedruns it either must be incredibly well travelled, or they've just really got into this game.
I think
And
they've just really got
they've
into
just
it.
researched kind of lots of different things. But to be able to pick out those kinds of details just seems absolutely nuts.
And it's immediate. He was like dropped in the middle of a dirt road, in just middle of nowhere, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm somewhere. Was it America or something?" Which is like usually the case, but it's like he just knows, and And he was talking about the meta of it, like how the Philippines was like, was it the Philippines? I think it was the Philippines. Was like one of the hardest places to identify. But then someone found a trick or something, which is probably not a trick, like a video game glitch or something like that, or going out of bounds, but just like
It's
knowing
like a
something
fact or
about
something.
knowing something about the area, which made it like, oh, I didn't realize that the roads are speckled with, I don't know,
Beer,
yeah,
white crystal.
with obsidian every now and then or something, just something bizarre like that. Yeah. Yes, if it's raining here, you're in Bristol, nowhere else in the world. But yeah, I just found that interesting. So this might be my next obsession alongside crosswords.
Yeah. Get a couple in a day. Just learn about the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that kind of geography stuff. Except going on Sporkle, naming all the flags. Although that would help. It would just help in Canada.
Yes, it would.
I'm gonna be. Yes.
Just start to specialize in geographical details.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, that's that. Townscapper. I saw it in your library, Ben, because I was thinking this is a Ben game. Is it still in early access? It is, isn't it?
Pass.
I think it is. Because yeah, I just picked it up. It was like £5. Store page. Have you played it yet, Ben?
Just a little.
It's very rudimentary. Yeah, same. It's very rudimentary. It's just basically like a painting tool.
Yeah.
Make pretty town pictures. Yeah, it is in early access. How would you describe it? Here we go. It says, build quaint island towns with curvy streets. Build small hamlets, soaring cathedrals, canal networks, or sky cities on stilts. Block by block. So it's no gold, no real gameplay, which is that is absolutely what it is. It is just like it's like Lego designer software. I can't remember what it's called.
It is just for sort of buildings, and it does this interesting thing that you don't kind of pick what you're putting down. You are just painting almost. You're like, yeah, here I'll do this, and here I'll do this, and then I'll build on top of this one. Actually, I can then have a sweeping area here, and that then can have lots of little steps down to the sea, so it looks like a nice little quaint little fishing village going then into a bigger town and all of this sort of stuff. And it's lovely to just sort of sit there and spend 5 minutes kind of just crafting and playing, and it gives a lot of kind of freedom around, even though it's quite a limited set of controls, you can kind of pick colors, so you can start to create kind of areas which correspond to certain colors and then flow into kind of other ones, or try and mix and match quite a lot of sort of stuff. And it's really interesting kind of the way that it just forms spaces.
Yeah, it as you say, I think it being in early access means might add a few more features to it, a few more assets and stuff like that. But it is just a nice little painting tool, and like I did one just before we started recording. I was like, screenshot. Okay, that's my desktop background for now, because it is like beautiful, like watercolored, like vistas. Sort of reminds me of that game Bad North, the strategy game. Was it real-time strategy game, which I played, which is not my kind of jam, but it's just how beautiful it looks, So yeah. There's not much to say really about it. I think you pretty much summed it up, Ben. But yeah, I was like, yeah, I'll chuck them £5 for a screensaver. Why not?
It's something that I messed around with for maybe a few days, but only in very short bursts. Is it something you see yourself kind of going to every now and again? Because I know that once I'd kind of put it aside, I haven't been back.
Yeah, I see that as well. I think what would draw me back in is having a bit more assets to use and a bit more curation and stuff like that. So, yeah, which it's in early access, and it's moving out of early access in August. So who knows how much they'll put in. It may be well, prior to 1.0. Maybe it'll get updates after release, but yeah, I was happy paying chucking them the £5 and just be like, this is a very beautiful, nice. It's very intuitive. The controls. It's literally just one click to put down an extra plot or tower, and just right click to erase. And it's just like, yeah, that is Townscapper.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was a very Ben game. So
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
I picked it up, absolutely ages ago. I think when I first saw it, I just went, yes, I shall buy this.
Let's talk about Ender Lilies. I've been talking a while. Should
No, yeah, go for it. Go for
one
it.
of you jump in?
I
Or
mean, so
just keep rolling.
No, keep rolling.
Keep going,
I
yeah.
think Ender Lilies is something you haven't finished it yet, right?
No.
Yeah, so might be something we come back to again. So even if you just want to give a little bit of kind of like early initial impressions and stuff, then yeah,
It's a Metroidvania, so
done.
I
Game of the
enjoy
year.
it. Yeah, it's a Metroidvania very much in the vein of Hollow Knight. Just in terms of like, it's the easiest comparison to make, because of maybe the art style. It's very dark, like the color palette, but the the drawings and everything, it's just beautiful to look at, like Hollow Knight as well. So just really detailed backgrounds and everything like that. But it's got that same sense of isolation, which I love in like Metroidvanias. It's like the staple of the series. It's just like you're all alone and you have to combat your way out of these, quite tough corridors and rooms and stuff like that. But you wake up as this little anime girl. It may be based on an anime. I don't know. I've played so many games where it's like, this is based on a manga or an anime. I'm just like, okay, it's a Metroidvania, so I'm cool. Don't know the source material, but thank you for making it. But yeah, you wake up as this little girl, and basically her surroundings, this kingdom that she's in, is just just gone. It's been ravaged by like demons, what they call the blighted. There's been like this corruption, and they're basically these demon monsters. And you have this kind of like ethereal, like familiar knight or something who is actually like, it's really cool because every time you like do an attack, this girl like cowers, and like the like ghost person, the ghost knight, is like slashing at people. So the animation's really, really good. And yeah, I'm working my way through it. I think I've just come to like the first, I'd say, yeah, probably the first bottleneck that I've come to, which is just there's a boss, and it's like its second phase just destroys me. I've only tried it like probably about 4 or 5 times. It's good. It's because it's like you have these seats like in Hollow Knight that you can sit down and rest or pray at. And it's like it regenerates your health, the enemies come back, but there's always one right before each boss encounter, which is good. So it's not like Dark Souls where you're having to do like 6 hours of gameplay before you get to the boss every single time. But yeah, I've only tried it a few times, and yeah, the second phase just absolutely slaughtered me. Like enemies, they take a lot of health out of you when they attack you. So yeah, I've made some good headway into it. I'm in the catacombs part of it, which is like every Metroidvania has like a underground tomb to it, and it's like I'm there now. I don't know how far that is in terms of the whole game. I've probably unlocked about 3 or 4 main areas. I think this is maybe the 4th. But yeah, that's where I'm at now. I'm really enjoying it. The only reason I haven't played more is because I'm working and like watching GDQ. But soon, this is the game that I'm like, I want to play more of this. I want to play more because it has that really good sense of. It's a Metroidvania. It has that really good sense of exploration, sense of isolation, the sense of getting better. It's got like an RPG leveling system, very rudimentary, but it's like there's the the Vania in the Metroid speak. So, and yeah, it really rewards exploration. Like, there are so many hidden areas and things off the beaten path, and it's like, there's usually like a little small mini boss, like as you explore out of the way, and if you kill them, you get like certain items because you have these spirits that are like different attacks on your. I'm playing on Switch on like the A B X Y buttons, where it's like, oh, if I press X, this hawk will come and shoot projectiles at the enemies, or if I press another button, you can select which, you can map them to different buttons, which is good.
Yeah.
Like, okay, the ghost knight swings this like flail at people and stuff like that, does a ton of damage, and you can upgrade those. And you also have these passive abilities that are in the form of rings, and you can like unlock different slots for them, and get more abilities that way, and just upgrade your character. I think I'm at the point where I'm gonna have to be like grinding a bit and just leveling up to defeat this boss maybe. Because the first phase it's just like, yeah, this is simple enough, but then the second phase is just like, oh my god, just wrecked me. But
does it? Because from like the trailers and the things that I'd seen of it, seeing this kind of other, or this like ghostly being kind of start attacking, when you're playing, is all of the movement the young girl that you're playing as, and it's only the attack when another animation happens and it's then that ghost coming out and swinging. You're then not moving as that kind of ghost character and then inhabiting the girl again. It is only when you're kind of attacking.
Yeah, and it's really fluid in that sense, because it's like, damn, that's a nice bit of animation. It's like, to do that every single time, it's like, it's really impressive. And yeah, like I really want to get back into this. It's like the story's intriguing enough that like the little bits of lore, in the form of like letters and diaries and stuff like that. I'm intrigued to know more. I don't think it's going to be the most, enthralling or
deep,
enrapturing, deep, kind of like story, but it's nice. It's nice trimmings. Because I know like people really got into like the Hollow Knight lore, and I was like, I have no idea what's going on. This is beyond me. But I don't think this is at that quite kind of level, but it's enjoyable. As I say, it's a nice accoutrement to everything.
Nice.
Yeah, I really want to get back into this. So it's just hitting all those veins that I need the Metroidvania just injected into every now and then.
I know like Metroidvania is, I think it's safe to say, one of your favourite genres of game.
Yeah.
Do you think that this I'll phrase what I was going to say differently. Do you think that the Metroid Dread kind of reveal got you back into the mood to play something like this, or you would have just played it anyway?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm always in the mood to play it. These types of games, because I went and played the Game Boy Advance Castlevanias earlier this year. There was like a solid 2 weeks where I just played so many games on Game Advance. I think I played like 2 Zelda games and like 3 Castlevanias and like 2 Metroids or something like that. So I need it to stay alive.
It's what sustains you through these late nights watching people speedrun.
Like Bender in Futurama only needs beer to fuel him. I need Metroidvanias. But, there was one on Game Pass called, I'm going to butcher its name. I think it's called Touhou or Touhou Lunar Nights, which I think is based on like this. I'd never heard of this series before, but like I think it's like fan-made bullet hell games or something like that over in Japan.
Oh.
And they made a Metroidvania, which is like Metroid in terms of like its structure, and it
Mhm.
has like the fights are like very bullet helly. Like there's so many projectiles, and like getting close to the projectiles, playing a bit more daring, like it grants you more health and like more more hit points and stuff like that. But uh, and then I saw on GDQ, I was like, this looks like that game I played, that random game I played on Game Pass. And I was like, and then I looked at the developer and was like, oh, it's made by the same people. Okay, cool. That's another um Metroid game I can play. Oh my god, I want to find the name of it because it was absolutely ridiculous. Uh, name of it. Hold on. Guess what it's called?
What did you think it was
Oh,
called? Tohu something
oh,
something?
not that one.
Oh,
The game that they were playing on GDQ that I saw that looked like Tohu Luna Nights. It's made by the same developer. This is called. You would never be able to guess. I don't know where. That's the Record of Lodos War: Deedlit in Wonder Labyrinth. So,
what?
What?
yeah, I don't know.
I feel like I should have said bless you.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it looks like a very good Metroidvania, and it's like, oh, it's on Steam, and it's got like very high praise, so that will be on my wish list. That will
Nice.
be next to play, so yeah. But yeah, Ender Lilies, I'll get back to you lot on that. I'm sure it'll be one I'll be talking about, more throughout this year because it's very good.
Nice. It'd be interesting to
I'm
see
enjoying it.
how big it is as well, because I think a lot of
Yeah.
the time I'm put off from Metroidvanias because they just feel quite long, and
Okay.
not that they always overstay their welcome.
Mhm.
It was something like Carrion felt like a really good
Yes.
kind of
Yeah.
length. There was lots of stuff within that game that I didn't discover. All of you don't have to get all of the abilities. You don't have to go in all of the little pods to experience the human walkthrough part of that game. And I don't know how long it took, but it felt about the right amount of time I
4 hours,
wanted
yeah.
to play it.
That's fair. Yeah.
Gato Roboto as well, very short,
Very
actually.
short.
Gato Roboto, and really good. Whereas I think Hollow Knight, I played
It's
and
like
played and
40
played and
hours.
played and played, yeah, and I just got to a
That's a
point,
long
and
one.
I beat my head against those three guys sat in the chairs when they
Oh,
jumped
the
down.
praying mantis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I beat my head against them so many times. I just went, no, not good enough for this anymore.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah, there is well, I guess there's a skill level, like, yeah, there must be. I'm just used to playing them, so when people say, "Oh, it's hard," I'm just like, "This is Dark Souls hard." Like, I don't find anything Dark Souls hard because Dark Souls hard is like you have to be patient to play that crap. This I can like, just grind a few levels for 20 minutes or something like that, and then just probably kick that boss's ass. So
Yeah. I mean, Dark
Dark
Souls is a
Souls,
very different style of game.
true,
Yeah.
different skill set, and I don't have that kind of skill set, so.
And again, when we've talked about Ori and having played it more recently, that felt like a reasonable amount of time, maybe a little bit bigger
Yeah.
than sort of the other ones,
Yeah.
but yeah, that felt good as well.
I 100% did that, so I can't remember. But yeah, that was probably what, maybe. I think a good chunk is like 15 hours or something.
Yeah. Does Game Pass tell you how long you've played a game for?
I know the Xbox app does. I'm not sure about on PC, to be honest.
No, I don't have it installed anymore, so I can't go to sort of like the game. I can go to the game page, I suppose, but I don't know if it have any stats on it, or if I go into my profile,
Probably.
what might come up from it now, or it just tells me achievements. So with like Ori and the Will of the Wisp, I got 35%, 19 achievements. It does tell you playtime. When you click on the game, it does tell you the playtime. So I played for 20.5 hours
Okay.
on Ori.
There you go.
Yeah.
I thought that was a nicely sized game. I just love that game so much. It's literally like one of my favourite games probably in the last decade, to be honest.
Yeah. Nice.
or ever.
It is a
It's
fantastic game.
tremendous. Hmm.
Yeah. Carrion, because I played that through Game Pass. Wow, that's a lot longer than I thought. 16 and a half hours.
Were you idle?
Possibly.
You were probably idling
More
about.
than likely.
It took me like
I mean,
5
the
hours.
amount of times I'll
900% that.
I'll sit there and play like 10, 15 minutes of a game, come out of it, do some work, make some calls, do something, and then it does sit idle for like 3 hours, and then I'll have another 10 minutes just kind of playing it. So there may be a little bit of that in there as well. I am a little bit like that. So yeah, there's lots of games where I think my playtime is exacerbated by it just running in the background. I mean, not actually kind of playing. So yeah.
Nice thing about Ender Lilies is that it's got in-game time. That's
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
Good.
I played Ori for 32 hours apparently. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I did 100% then.
Yeah.
So.
But it's so something like that. What did I say? It was about 23 that I played it for, something like that. So it that seems kind of right. That you can put in a total of 30 hours, but actually to complete the game, you're looking at about 2/3 of that. So there's that additional kind of extra, half again, the amount of time to be able to go through and get everything and do everything and experience sort of like the full package from it. But it's all optional. You don't have to get everything.
Yeah.
So yeah. Nice.
Don't need every energy tank.
No, I mean,
I
did do a lot in that game as well, but not quite 100%. I got all the seeds and those kinds of, and all of the upgrades and those kinds of things. Not life upgrades, but the upgrades to the little kind of hub area. That I mean, it's not a hub area really, is it? It's sort of that little town.
It kind of is. Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, like not all of them. I 100%. The ones that I think out of any other genre, maybe it's just how much I play them. It's like out of anything, I prefer to 100% like these because, as I say, the exploration's always fun to me, and just going back to earlier enemies and just wrecking people is always fun.
Nice.
It's sort of like that kind of feeling is sort of like why I kind of understand why people might like RPGs, but then I just think, nah, they're crazy. Just play Metroidvania instead.
So before we move on to beers, Lucy, you mentioned a couple of games which you felt sort of like, oh, I know this game, and it kind of looks like this game, sort of thing. A little update on Death's Door, which I spoke about previously.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned that I didn't know how long the demo went on for, and I found the end of the demo within about 5 minutes of when I went back into the game to play it. So everything that I kind of talked about was experienced under that sort of preview build. But when I was kind of talking about it, and I remember sort of saying it feels like it's very similar to like Hyperlight Drifter. It's very similar to Titan Souls. It's actually developed by the same person who made Titan Souls. And also
that makes sense.
Also and the music, I'm like, this is just straight up Moonlighter. It's composed by the same person who composed the Moonlighter music. So I mean,
you're very knowledgeable then, Ben.
Well,
like,
amazing.
You are a sage.
Just games I have played.
That's 3 out of 3 for you then. Well done.
So yeah, there we go. Just a little tiny update on that. Shall we open up some more beers?
Yes.
Yeah, let's
I
do it.
have one. I could do this one, but
I'll
have some water.
Do it, Lucy.
I'll have some nice water instead.
Peer pressure drinking. It's like we're 14. I'm in your absence of drinking, Lucy. Then I'm off to the other side of the Atlantic. I am drinking a beer from Equilibrium.
I thought that was the same beer.
Yes,
I was going to say
it's very
blue thing with thing in the middle.
Colours are very similar. This is Stratasphere, 8.5% double IPA, brewed and canned at Equilibrium. That's pretty much all I get. Help us ensure cold chain. Purchase cold, trade cold, keep cold. If it's not cold, ask why. It's very cold. and yeah, just the normal American warnings on it, but they don't give me any other information on the can than that. I could have prepared and had a look online, but I'll just tell you what it's like instead.
Yeah.
So I will.
Plus, we decided that they're all the same anyway. They all use the same ingredient.
That's true. So this will probably be exactly as you've described the last few beers in the last few weeks. So can't open it. It's so wet I can't open it. Aadil, we'll come to you for beer number 2.
I've got from Harbour. I don't know why I blanked on the big H. It's Step Into Liquid Black IPA, 5%. Boy, does it not say a lot. Its aromas caramelized fruit embers. The palate is roasted malt, tropical and soft, and the finish is citrus and floral. Yeah. So Harbour's in North Cornwall. Very nice little can. I like the zoom lines, but also like they're weirdly stepped. I don't know if you can see that. Like, it's an odd. Anyway.
Yeah.
Very simple can, but not. But less straightforward than you would think. Yeah, it's just a black IPA. I thought. Nice and simple. We'll see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. I think I've probably answered my own question. Oh no, I poured it into the same glass. I even brought a fresh glass. What am I doing? I think I probably answered, considering it's
Doesn't
called...
matter. Look what I've done.
Yeah.
Just look at what I've done.
Brilliant. Considering it's called Stratasphere, I wonder whether Strata is the main hop within this.
Yeah. Because I was like, isn't Stratosphere spelled with an O?
Stratosphere? Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and then when I googled it, it's like Stratasphere. So yes, good observation, Ben.
Good, and
I did not get that.
Good picking up.
And good premonition.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I mean, I haven't poured it any better than
wow.
yours. It's all fizzed. But where I poured in my
Very
previous
good.
glass, just a tiny little taster. Hopefully, it won't be too spoiled by the previous beer. There wasn't much in there. But I'll show you this one first. It's a little deeper than the last beer. It's a lot more kind of frothy on the head and just bubbled out. But it's got a nice nose. There's something about American beers and their nose where you can get kind of the fruity sort of flavours, but there's just this kind of underlying smell to them.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
know what
kind
you
of
mean.
almost this
Quite subtle.
very subtle, but it's kind of almost that you get with like a saison when you have those kind of like candy kind of esters in there as well. It's sort of almost this not artificial sort of sweetness to it, but there's like a hint of that to it.
I know exactly what you mean. Yes. That is a very good way of putting it.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, it's, as you would expect, it's very soft. It's very easy. And it's very, very light. But it's very hard to pick out exactly what that flavour is.
Yeah. All I can make out is that it's got strata and citra in it, so... oats and wheat.
It kind of... sort of presents itself as kind of fruity and not really much else. There's this kind of hit of mixed fruits, but more tropical than kind of anything else. But a little bit of
melon and guava.
Guava, absolutely, yes.
Maybe some smooth cannabis as well. That makes sound. I'm looking at Untapped. I assume that's the description that.
I mean, smooth cannabis would suggest that there's maybe like a dankness to it, and I'm not getting that. There's no dates on the can. It might be because of like the travel time and that sort of stuff. I'm not drinking it that fresh, so I won't be getting kind of like the full effect. It's not kind of like a green beer brewed 3 days ago. Straight into the can sort of thing, but definitely Oh no, the pour is not quite coming out of the glass. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's all on fire everywhere, but it's fine.
Basically.
Yeah, and I mean, now going back to the nose, it does match the flavour. There is this kind of underlying sweetness to everything in there. But it is remarkable that irrelevant of kind of the flavours that are going on with these beers. And last week I drank the Kings County beer. I also had a beer in the week from Barrier as well, from over in somewhere in the east side of America, and all of them just have this lovely quality to them. And we've talked at length about kind of like the water quality and those sorts of things, and kind of like what Verdant and Daya and certain kind of breweries over here do get, but how those kind of northeastern American breweries just have that extra step on top of that as well. And this has that, but the flavour is, I suppose, a little underwhelming to go along with that. Like, it's this lovely soft kind of flavour, lovely soft kind of mouthfeel and quality to it, but the flavour sort of doesn't quite live up to that level. It's just a little weak. There's not a huge amount going on, just a couple of sort of tropical fruits, and as you say, a bit of guava, a bit of melon in there.
Just want it a bit bolder. Do you think that's like a reflection on the beer, or just reflection of the standard that you know that, especially Equilibrium, can hit?
Maybe both. Maybe both. I whether I again have in my mind that this beer should be here, or every beer that they produce is here, and then suddenly you get one and actually it just drops that down, and no one can live to the standard that I have suddenly set in my head for them on every single thing that they ever produce. That's impossible to do, but it just isn't quite there. So I mean, other people who've never had a beer from Equilibrium will probably taste this and go, no, this is really nice. And it's very smooth, it's very easy, the flavours work together really nicely, but for a double IPA it's just not quite punchy enough for me.
Right.
And that's fine, because there's lots of people out there who want a double IPA that does taste and feels more like just a 6% IPA. Nothing wrong with that at all. And I don't know whether that's maybe Strata as well, just the hop itself. It'd be interesting. I know you said from Untapped, did it say it was Strata and Citra? Or wherever you found the listing, it was Strata and Citra. And maybe it's that combination of hops or just Strata itself, because I've had a couple of beers which are single hop Strata beers when it started to circulate, which is maybe about a year ago, something like that. Maybe a little bit longer ago. And again, those beers were kind of like, it's a nice flavour, but it isn't that big and it isn't that bold.
I think on its own, you're probably looking at you'd probably need something like a Citra to just bolster that flavour. So it is very subtle hop from what I can remember.
Yeah, completely. And I think that's very much sort of showcased in this, that it is quite subtle and very, very light. So, but it's a nice flavour, absolutely.
Nice.
Just unexpected for 8.5%.
That's fair.
Yeah. Aadil, the Harbour, the black IPA.
It is settled nicely. It's a bit light, like more brown than cola.
Yeah, I was about to say it looks even dark reddish almost from here.
Yeah, exactly. There's just a bit of a reddy orange.
It's like a Nuki brown, mate.
To it. The nose is a little sweet and a bit malty. We're thinking more biscuit, less coffee. Touch of sweetness. It's only 5%, I think. That lightness is reflected in flavor. It's got a little of acrid maltiness on the finish, but there's still a little bit of sweetness to sort of offset that. It's quite light. I'm surprised.
Okay. You're not getting any of those stouty.
No,
Very
I mean
stouty
I'm getting some of the burnt roasted malt flavors,
Hmm.
and they even say it on the palate. Let never really seen this. Sorry, I'm gonna go back to this. Caramelized fruit embers is not quite what I had on the aroma, but then again, I did say burnt and slightly fruit. Maybe I'm just not developed enough to understand what caramelized fruit embers are. But
Burnt
the
fruit, mate. Just charred to bit.
yeah, right. I mean, it smells better than burnt fruit. Is my problem. So the palate, like it says, roasted malt, tropical, and soft. Whatever soft means. I mean, it is understated, but it does have that, like I said, that sort of burnt, acrid maltiness, and yeah, there's some fruit there. I guess if you really, now that I read the tin, it's slightly more tropical, but I'd say it's just a layer of slightly sweet fruit, sort of jiving with sometimes fighting with the roasted malt acridity. And I guess the problem I have is that roasted malt is a bit more acrid than I would like. It's a bit more burnt than roasted. And then that lingers a bit. There's a sweetness on the finish that's a little nice, and you get a little more of that fruitiness coming off of it. But yeah, so the finish doesn't have the acridity, but the main taste does, and it's just a little more awkward than I would hope. Just because I feel like, I mean, one, it's fewer people are okay with that type of taste. But two, I feel like it's crowding out the sort of fruity undertones. It's like pushing them to undertones rather than sort of staying at the same pace.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, as these things go, I'll give it till the end of the beer to see if maybe, because often things like acrid burnt, you acclimatize and then the rest of the beer doesn't have it. So we'll see by the end if I notice that anymore, or whether I acclimatize enough to it that I can have that fruit, that tropical, come forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, as you say, a lot of the time when you have those kinds of jarring notes, because we don't experience them on a kind of daily basis, it does just
I eat
throw
ash
off
for the
kind of
morning. What are you talking about?
It does normally then
Ash.
throws off the flavour for the rest of it. So yeah, I can kind of see why that is the kind of the thing that sticks out to you at the moment. So yeah, we'll return to these beers at the end of the episode then. Aadil, what would you like to chat about this week in terms of gaming?
I played a game. I don't have a lot to say. I had a topic and I can't for the life of me remember what it was. So maybe it'll come back to me. Did play a game.
About beer or video games?
It was about video games, I believe, but I can't remember what it was. I should have written it down.
Was it something in the news recently? Was it an age-old topic? Was it something recycled on a 4-year basis that people always get into and then it gets forgotten for a while?
It was about Dead Space.
Yes, we'll go with Dead Space.
Yeah.
It might have been about Dead Space. Now I have no idea. I mean, Stephanie Sterling talked about Dead Space this week. It was something close to the. Oh my god, I'm never gonna remember. Oh, I have remembered. But I will save it and then probably forget.
Write down.
You want to let us know?
After we talk about.
Write down.
Okay. Right down.
Oh yeah, I'm opening a tab now. It says, "Remember, right?" And, yes. So if we have time, we can talk about the other thing. But I just wanted to quickly talk about the game I played this week, which was A Tale of Synapse: The Chaos Theories. It was first looks on Actual Tuesday, I think, this week. boy, has our schedule gotten mucked up. And it's only gonna get worse because I'm right. One of my to-dos for the day, which I'll probably do semi-drunk, is book my flights to Canada.
Nice.
I've managed to segue away from the thing that was its own segue away. So Tale of Synapse, the Chaos Theories is I mean, I don't know. I didn't look into Surus Labs or Tsura Games, but they're. I mean, I'm gonna just say this: they're not from an English-speaking country. I just say that because there's.
Right?
Sorry.
Mouse Lab. Is it like Mouse Lab? I don't know. Sorry.
Oh, Surus. Yeah, that makes sense.
French.
And this isn't a dig, right? Like I'm not. There's no problem with that. It was just like some of the dialogue was clunky. Yeah, France. And they have an Instagram I might follow. So it's helped Sai and Nero to get out of a world where logic, mathematics, and puzzles will be your allies in a 2D platform game with a unique aesthetic. I really dig the aesthetic. If you are on an internet machine, it's a 2D puzzle platformer. They call it an interactive fiction, but I would say that's not really. It's a puzzle platformer. It's got a really cool aesthetic. You're like this thing where you've got like tendrils coming off your head, and then they lead to your hands, and so you don't actually have arms. It's really hard to describe. It's a really simple, a very most of the things are discrete shapes in very like color blocked colors, and then at various sizes, but there's also like numbers in that sort of color blocked fading, and then the actual terrain / land is a little, I'd say, MS Paint spray canny. I don't know how else to describe the aesthetic. It's really cool. You basically, I really wish I got it. We got it, the review code on Steam, but had I realized, I would have asked for a Switch and then tried to wrangle one of my housemates maybe, because it's like Mario Galaxy. I think that's the one where you had one could be a secondary character or a control. Is that the right one? What am I thinking of?
Yeah, that's the right one, because Ben said he played it with his brother.
So you play as Nero. You're basically you actually let loose a thing that's evil in the library, and your surrogate parent / mentor is like, you got to solve this, and you go through various levels. It doesn't really matter. It's and then you immediately meet Sai, who, so if you're on the controller, Sai is you move around with the left stick, and you have all your buttons, but Sai moves around with the right stick, and then it's basically just picks things up. Certain blocks can be picked up and moved around, and you do that with the right trigger. And then I think Sai gets other powers, which might be mapped to other buttons. But basically, if you are playing on a Switch or have a second controller bound to your PC, another person can play as Sai. And there were a couple times where I was like, oh, this is actually, like, design-wise, you kind of want me to have someone else around, just because I'm doing a jumping puzzle, and if I go off screen, I can no longer grab the thing, and I'm trying to time a thing and then have to grab the thing and lift it up to some random spot to precariously hold the block such that I can then do the next move and drag it over. Because as soon as Sai is like just hits the barrier, they zip right back to you. So not only is their position off, but also you can't like be like, oh, I'll jump. Like a couple times I jumped a few places thinking the camera would have the block and Sai in the same point of view, but it was just a little too much. Having said that, it's fine. It's clearly a small studio. I really liked it. And also I think it would be great for a parent and child, because Sai's puzzle mechanics are really simple. It's like push a button, move around, and you can just be like, okay, float it about. There's no Sai's, like, anytime I bumped into, I mean, I played an hour and a half, 2 hours of the game, and at no point did I feel like the Sai side was timing based. It was more like pick it up, put this here, help out. And why I say parent and child is because it's when they say logic and maths, they really mean maths because
Yeah.
the first level is like, so basically you go through the level and you meet other people and you talk to them, and that'll gain you points which will help you upgrade your skills. But also there'll be certain puzzles that you have to pass to get basically finish the puzzle, and a gate will open so you can go to the next part of the level. And some of the puzzles you can skip to get to the end of the level, so and some will give you access to more people to talk to get more points so you can upgrade your skills. Like the first thing I did was get being able to attack while jumping. Having said that, I swear to God, I got hit. Well, it took a while to figure out that when you got hit, you lose like one of your upgrade things. It's like your coins that you can spend at certain points to upgrade. But it was unfortunately really hard to tell when I was getting hit that something happened, unless I stared in the bottom of my screen and saw the number go from 72 to 71.
Oh, it's
That
not like
kinda
Sonic where rings are flying.
No, it's just
out of
one
it.
thing, and you can actually like grab it if you have the timing right. But obviously, if you try and grab it, you'll probably run into the enemy again and then lose another couple things. I can't remember. It's one or two. An orb falls and accounts for one or two of the orbs that you collect. And I wish it had been a little clearer about that, because I kind of thought it didn't matter, and so I kind of like wasn't really doing precision hitting, and the hitboxing is okay. Again, it's not like it's fine because you can just hit back off, and you kill almost any enemy that I encountered. It's just it gives you this extra stuff, and it doesn't seem to matter. Like I don't think spending the money on the jump attack I could probably have just landed on the thing, attacked, jumped away before the thing hit me or whatever. Anyway, so the first level, basically, there's 4 worlds, and clearly there's a path. I only got halfway to the second world. Like I played first couple levels, which was a central hub, and then a couple levels towards. So it seems like quite a long game, and it was like how you solve this thing. So size power is they freeze time and they invert the color spectrum, and then you see like what looks like a random set of blocks on a platform and then another platform. It's like, oh, there's a plus sign, and you realize that you have to solve the problem using addition. And then it was multiplication, and then it was division, and then it was geometry, and that's sort of when I finished. So why I say, like, the thing is I don't know, because I haven't gone too deep into the game. I have no idea what age ranges I ideal for the problems, because the ramp of maths seemed like the geometry stuff is like, I don't know, when you learn angles and right angle triangles and stuff. Like I can't
Probably
remember
earlier
that.
than you remember. Probably like 3-year-olds. Probably.
I mean,
I mean now, yeah.
Yeah, it's not UK reception. It's not 4 to 5 because
Yeah.
they've just been learning shapes. So Evelyn in reception has been learning shapes. So let's return to this in a year's time, and I can tell you what she's learned for that. Yeah.
But yeah, and so I think it's this weird trade-off of their role would be kind of light gameplay wise, but you could like collaborate on the puzzles, and I'm really interested in that. However, if it ramps, like if by the 4th world you need to do a lot of advanced maths, then I think it wouldn't be as good. So I might actually drill further in, because I have no idea how deep the maths hole goes, and if it's like you have to be good at maths, I think then the beginning levels are not great for who it's aimed at, and if it like levels out at a certain level, maybe that will be good.
Yeah, I read the reviews, which are all positive. It doesn't seem like the maths are too in depth. It's not like you're going to be doing derivatives by the end of the game.
Yeah,
right?
no, I assume it's fine, right? Like, and like I actually hope that it does more on the logic side and less with the like. I was really liking it's like simple maths, arithmetic, and like cool, and a couple more logic-y stuff of like just reasoning. Most of it was like reasoning on how to put what the symbols kind of, because they're kind of floating in abstract space, what they might mean. Like that was really interesting to me. It was like simple arithmetic, but then okay, I know arithmetic is the key, but I'm not sure, because things are floating all around because you're in this physical space. Okay, what am I adding towards? Like that has a bit more reasoning than just, okay, it's not just like blank plus blank equals blank, and then when you invert things, the last blank says 18, so you put 9 things in a thing and then 9 things in another thing, right? It's a little more complicated.
Here we go. Later puzzles feature geometric shapes, fractions, and algebra.
Algebra.
Mhm.
Okay.
And so what I wanted to say was just it was really interesting, but pretty good at logic and maths. And there was one puzzle that, so what if you platform the right way, you get apples, and you can go to when you enter a puzzle, you can hit Y and it goes, here's a hint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every time I used one, I was like, yeah, I knew that was going to be the case. Fine, cool. But I'm happy it's there because if I was lost, that's fine. And then I went to one but I tried to save the apples, and then I finished the level, and they just went away. So there's no keeping of the apples. There's no reason.
Like them apples.
Yeah, there's no reason not to use them to get the hint, which is good to know, but kind of would have been nice because I thought, but that means they're on a 1-to-1 basis with the puzzles, which I prefer. Right, just do the platform and get the apple if you're confused. That's a nice trade-off.
Yes.
But I walked in, and it was like I inverted things, and it was like, oh, I wish I remembered this puzzle. There was an 18 that appeared, and then there was 3 bins, and I could push a button and be 3, 6, 9, 12, or another button, and I was trying to do. The 2 lower bins had a plus sign between them, and they both had a multiplication sign going up to the central bin, which was stuck at 3 or something because it had a circle. So it was matching shapes, and I found a 3 in a circle, a 2 in a triangle, and a 1 in a square. And then I was trying to figure out what to put in. So the circle was in the middle thing that had the multiplication table. I knew 18 was hovering above me, and I had like 4 squares already in the right-hand side, and 1 or 2 triangles. It doesn't really matter what the maths are, but I thought, but every time there was a button that allowed me to change something. It was going up by 3, 6, 9 or something. It was very unclear what I was supposed to do, and the hint just said it's about distributivity, and I was like, yeah, I knew that, but like I don't, and I like just stared at it, and I was like, I don't get what, like I'm calculating, and like these 3 shapes that have numbers in them, I have no idea if they're saying necessarily every square is a 1. And then I kind of fumbled my way into the solution, and then I looked at the thing and I was like, okay, necessarily the circle can't be a 3, the squares can't be a 1, and the triangle can't be a 2, because then the maths doesn't work, and I don't know what I did, and that was so frustrating.
You still would have got the marks for that. You just wouldn't have got any marks for showing your work.
Show you working. Yeah, show you working.
It's not how I work.
It's not how a lot of people work.
Yeah, I did a degree in logic. It was about the proofs.
What, were there no numbers?
No, God, math's so much better without numbers. Just get rid of them.
Oh, I like the maths with numbers. I genuinely liked maths when I for A level, because it is just like, yes, it is. It's very good. It's like,
yeah, there's the right answer. It's great.
The logic, yeah.
Yeah.
Depends. Yeah, it very much depends what modules in maths A levels you take, but. I
couldn't do mechanics. I know nothing about mechanics.
I did statistics
at
A level, and just was kind of like, right, yeah, no.
Pure maths, where it's just like when it's like, here, figure this out, and it's like, oh, I know everything. I know all the formula. I know all the different aspects of math to work out this very trivial thing. And that is what I very much liked about
That's what I love about maths.
Yeah.
And logic. So, I mean, this is where I had logic is the underpin. It doesn't matter. I stopped myself.
Yeah, I was about to say,
We got
another
we got
6
20 minutes. Go. Do what you need to.
No, so I guess I was frustrated by that puzzle, and also there was a second in that same level. There was a second puzzle that you had a square, a triangle, and a circle, and it had a circle and a 3 in the background. So I assumed it was just like remember what you saw over there.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't unlock the thing, which means I didn't get to talk to another person, which means I didn't get you did a good job at the end of the level, because I couldn't unlock the last thing and talk to a thing. But it looked like a puzzle, and I had an apple. I actually tried to solve it before, and I hit Y, which is the eat the apple button, and it gave me the prompt, which was clearly for the other puzzle. And that was frustrating because it said it's about distributivity. I'm like, it's fucking not. You're giving me 3 shapes and numbers.
How do you know it's not then?
So then I go back to the so I can't figure out. It's like, okay, I could like just treat this as like safe cracking, right? Like lock breaking. I could just be like 1 1 1 1 1 2. I was like, I'm not gonna do that. Fine, fuck it. I don't know what you're trying to ask me. I did the thing that seemed close. Fine, leave. Go back to the other place. I guess that's when I was struggling. And it's like, oh, I've got an apple left because I got 2 in this level. Eat this apple. Doesn't eat an apple. Just gives me the same prompt, which is nice. It gives me the same prompt, but that's when I knew that was the area, that was about distributivity, and that was what the 3 screens above, like 2 screens to the left and 1 above, it gave me that hint. And like, so I was a little disappointed that it's kind of buggy in that way. And like, I'd rather like you'd hope that like the apples had a hitbox, kind of, right? Like a hit radius.
Yeah.
But also that like it would just say there's no hint for this room or something to indicate that like
don't eat the apple.
well, like that eating an apple in this room won't give you a puzzle solve. Yeah. Which I think is there's a bit of a landmark that says here's a puzzle, and that other room didn't, so it felt like a bonus room, I guess. So maybe I just didn't pick up on the signs they were trying to do, but it just felt a little clunky. Yeah. But I'm still super interested in it. I was just like, in the end, I kind of cut the stream short because I kind of did that one poorly, and then started a new room, and then hit. Oh right, yeah. It seemed like a weird platforming thing. Maybe I did it wrong. So it's a bit clunkier than you would hope, and because I ended up quitting on a puzzle, which was, it starts up and it says like, here's a frozen wheel. And it's clearly an equilateral triangle, and then you've got a machine that makes triangles, and you're like, okay, well, 60 degrees is how you make an equilateral triangle, because it's got 1 angle and a length. And it was at 1, and it made a tiny equilateral triangle. So I upped it to 3, which was the max. And then it made 1, and I put it onto the platform where the outline was, and the wheel started turning. And then you go up, basically, you get to a new spot, and it's like, hey, and the hint is, there's another wheel, make something that fits there. And it looks like a right-angled triangle about the same size. So I trundle down and I make a right-angled triangle. And as soon as I say 90, it gives me a length for A and B, which was interesting, which I liked. Make a thing that looks like it, but it replaces the previous triangle. So now the wheel that was spinning has stopped. So then I had to try and get up, but it stopped in a bad place. So then I had to time the remake the equilateral triangle and time it so that when I made the right angled triangle, it would stop at the apex on the wheel, and then try and jump up. And then that was when I was like, I wish someone was here to drag the extra shape. Mm-hmm. And then I dragged the shape there and put it there, and then nothing happened, and it was fully fitting. It was like slightly inside the dotted line.
Oh no.
So and it took me ages, and I hit the hint button, and it's like, try and make one that fits. There's also one that looks like the right shape, but it's trapped in an area, and you're like, do I have to like knock it over like with physics to try and drag it out? No, that was just a shitty thing, to like a red herring. So I dragged the thing up, and it sucked. And then I went back down and tried to make a new one, and you can't make them any bigger. I'm like, well, this fit, except it was within the dots instead of lining up with the dots. I don't know. Now I'm frustrated, and I'm frustrated because the level before was kind of buggy, well, because I didn't understand, and now I'm here, and it's like, okay, so now I've got 2 levels in a row that just aren't feeding me enough info, and my brain isn't exactly weak in this area, so I just feel like
I
there's.
don't know. It sounds like someone can't do math.
I mean, and the thing is, like, mostly it was just frustrating because by myself getting that shape up was difficult because the route you take when the equilateral triangle's in the middle and the wheel is spinning, a gate opens as well, and you can go sort of up and around. And then when you when you make a new shape, it freezes it and it closes the gate, which means you have to like really time a jump to a platform, and like I had to use the triangle I made to get over a hump to get the extra height, but then I couldn't go too far because I had to pick that up before I despawned it. And it was like, this game has not given me
you're
any
just
sort of.
speedrunning it. That's all you're doing.
But no, there was no other route though. Is the thing. So I just felt like it was a little clunky in that it didn't seem to be a precision platformer, and then suddenly I was really fighting on the platforming. But I played some.
Do you know if you can Steam share this? So, like, either Lucy and I could be that second player.
Count for you.
Whilst,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, remote play together. Yeah, you can.
Okay, nice. That's
Yeah,
it's good to know.
Yeah, it seems, as you say, a little bit rough around the edges. Probably made by a small team, but I'm really intrigued by it. Like, I think just involving maths in the platform just seems super interesting and quite unique. So.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like I'm saying there were 2 rough levels, and that's why I stopped the stream when I did, because it was like I'm frustrated, but I don't think that means it's like a bad game. I just think, like you said, it's a little rough around the edges. And yeah, if I could get a second controller in there and someone to just be like, I'm lifting the thing, don't worry about it. Oh, and also, like, okay, we got the triangle to this spot. Why isn't it working? What else can we try? Because I guess why I ended the stream is because I felt like I was getting frustrated because the trade-off of, oh, this puzzle didn't. I thought I had the solution to the puzzle, and then I fought the game on the platforming vector, and was getting a little frustrated with that. And then I got there. I did the hard part, and then I got there, and it wasn't the right solution. So now I'm frustrated on the puzzle solving vector, and it was like, okay, I'm just gonna get crabby. There's no point. It's been 1 hour and 40 instead of 2 hours. I'll call it, right? But like, if you have another person, they can also just talk you down from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reviews are all positive. I looked at like
yeah, there's not a lot.
I looked at the other language reviews and they're all positive, and yeah, seems
yeah,
really
like
neat.
I think it's good. I just yeah, like I said, I think just getting a little more info on those puzzles. Like maybe it was like I even tried. Maybe I got the angles wrong because it like spits it out where the right angle is on the left side, but by the time I got it up, the right angle was on the right side, and that matched the pattern. Maybe it didn't like that, but like that seems counterintuitive because I purposely made the 2 lengths A and C equivalent, so like those 2 triangles would be the same. And I don't know. I just don't know what happened, and then it's like so
Probably
yeah. So like I said, like,
fresh eyes
I'm
and
gonna,
see if it is you or genuinely the game, or maybe restart the level or something.
yeah. So I'm super, and also there's so much more game left, and I'm super curious where the maths will go. Yeah. So that was Tale of Synapse, the Chaos Theories. Oh, I mean, yeah, and the story world building sounds interesting, but it's very much just, I think, aesthetic and puzzles. Like,
yeah,
it's fine if you don't care about the story in the end. I think because the game has a story that links together, and you talk to people and you get their backstory. But so if you that helps stitch things together. But ultimately, I think if you like these actual mathematics based puzzles, this is worth giving a go.
Nice, cool. Good. It does sound like one of those games that would have been good to have someone in the back seat for, as we try and normally do when we as we try and normally do when we stream, have someone to kind of co-stream with. And it leads me very much into I wasn't available to co-stream this week because I've been busy with work, and because I've been busy with work, I haven't played anything. I played nothing. I've done nothing all week gaming wise. I sat down for a little bit of time and tried. Is it Virtua Fighter 5? Which was the PS Plus game. It was the PS Plus game for last month.
I have to say that's very random.
I think it was the PS Plus game for last month. I put it and installed it because Evelyn was getting not frustrated, but we tried a few different games. So she tried to play Sonic Mania and kind of got to grips with it, but wasn't quite sure. You know, like it's the idea that she needs to continuously press to run across and then jump at the same time, and she would run across, stop, and then jump, and it's getting like the idea in her brain that you're moving and you're jumping and all this sort of stuff. So I said, well, let's try something different, and we tried Streets of Rage 4, and again, very similar. Walked, stopped, pressed the punch button once, and then sort of just watched her character not do anything. No, you need to keep pressing that button. Okay, so she pressed it twice, and then stop, and do that kind of thing. And I thought maybe
this is what I find interesting about accessibility, because it's like I'm sure there's probably a setting where it's like you can just be auto walking, like but it's like, should they learn that instead? So it's like
it's one of those. Mate, like, you used to be able to pick up like Mega Drive control pads where you flick a little switch and you press the turbo button once and it would be like, yeah, the turbo pad. Yes. But I think it's very much, you know, she's only just turned 5, and I didn't start playing any kinds of games until I was sort of 8, something like that. When comprehension, you know, a whole 3 years, another whole half of her life, to get into that kind of mindset. And there was a few kind of, not quite Game and Watch, but we had a few of those kind of little handheld single game kind of things. Yeah, and we had a Teenage Mutant Turtles one and a few of those kinds of things, which we kind of, you sort of play and actually they're really limited in what you do. Like you platform, and then when you get to a fight, it's like an RP. It's like an old school RPG where you go then into a fight screen, and actually you're not moving. You're just tapping a button to do an attack or something like that. So I thought, why don't I put in something like, you know, Virtua Fighter 5 was the PS Plus game. Let's see if she can kind of just play around with that, because it doesn't matter if she presses a button, she'll punch. She can move a little bit. Like a fighter like that, you don't need to be constantly, unless you're playing at a pro level, constantly moving and blocking and all of those sorts of things. And Kim is fantastic at Street Fighter 5 because she just like just bashes. She bashes. And I thought, well, we'll start with this. To find out, you cannot play 2-player Virtua Fighter 5 with a wired control pad. You have to have 2 wireless control pads.
What?
Why?
Oh wait. What?
Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's no what?
I don't know. So
There's no
we didn't play it. And Evelyn said, "You play it." I'm like, "All right." So I did, and I got bored. I'm like, "Nah, it's not. Nah."
Who forgot to put that in?
I mean, it's so weird. It's so random.
Well, clearly nobody's playing that game then, like in any kind of like tournament or like competitive play.
Yeah, and
Virtua Fighter. I've got latency, and you're fine.
Yeah.
Like,
like Virtua Fighter was the first fighting game I played. I think it was a Mega Drive game, or one of the ones on the PS1.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that was the first kind of fighter that I actually played.
Yeah, that seems like.
And you know, the whole idea that you can double tap up and you'll sidestep, and you know, those sorts of things. It made a 2D space kind of 3D, and like, you know, which was great at the time. Hasn't moved on very much from that, apart from kind of graphics.
Segas.
Yeah, it was definitely definitely played it on the Mega Drive. So, or feel like I did. and there's probably tons for Sega Saturn. The other 4
Saturn, yeah.
more than likely.
Master System as well, going
yeah.
back as far as it. Yeah.
So it kind of, I don't know. It was just sort of
Well, that was
such
interesting.
an anticlimactic experience. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. Can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of fire.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say Game Pass, but you don't have a physical console.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how.
I wouldn't play Street Fighter 5 anyway.
I mean, I could. That might be the next one that I try. I'll put Street Fighter 5 in and see if the wired Hori pad.
Yeah. Well, somebody has to play it.
Is
So.
connected. I mean, Street Fighter 5 is still going, mate. It's still on the Pro
Yeah,
scene
I
as
know.
well.
There are 2 people playing it
Yeah.
in the adverts. That's what keeps it
With their
alive.
upside down PlayStation 5 console. Yeah. Yes, I would then. That will be their next experience. But again, it's really interesting to so many kind of things that I see on Facebook, because obviously it's kind of like targeted at me from certain groups that I'm in, and there's this a gaming kind of dads group, which is absolutely massive now. It wasn't when I started, when I joined it, but it's absolutely huge now. It's thousands and thousands and thousands of people within this Facebook group.
People popping out kids everywhere,
Well,
man. Repopulating the earth.
Just, Jesus, sometimes you see some posts and they're like, "Hey, we're on kid number 6," and I'm like, just stop fucking,
Christ.
just stop.
The what?
Don't.
Jesus.
You don't need no more kids. How can you afford to feed all these children? But some of them will be like, "My kids just turned 4. Blah 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 blah. I'm really proud that they're now playing games." I'm like, oh my god, don't put everything into your child, but having the same hobbies as you, just as a throwaway comment. But
Agreed.
it's one of those where I'm like, how is your kid that adept at doing this at that
Everybody's
early age?
different,
And everyone's
you know?
different. Exactly. Some kids absolutely will be, and I think it's one of those where I'm sat there going, it'd be cool if we played these games together, and then I'm like, don't worry about it. Like, when she can't do it, I'm like, just like, don't worry, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just if it happens next year, if it happens the year after, if you never want to play games again, it does not matter. You
Agreed.
do whatever you want to do.
I mean,
Agreed,
because that way we can avoid ever becoming a Smash player, which is worse than playing no games at all. So
Mate, you should be a
I'd rather
professional-
that for my
should be a
child.
professional
Never
Street
pick up a
Fighter
game.
5 player.
God.
At the age of 10, just destroying everybody because their reflexes are so fucking quick. No, and it's just one of those where she likes hidden through time. The idea that she's just moving a cursor around the screen and finding things, and because she is now reading a lot, she's reading the clues and trying to work out what the clues are saying and those kinds of things. And I think that's a perfect kind of game for that age. But again, she isn't saying, can I play this game? That's not the thing she wants to do. And in my mind, at least I haven't sat there thinking, oh, I wish she'd say she'd play this game. That hasn't kind of like crossed my mind in any sort of way. It's like she goes, let's go and do this. I'm like, yeah, right, cool.
Yeah.
Let's go and play with the new like toy hobby horse thing that I've got. I'm like, yeah, right, cool. Google where I can buy a like sheriff's hat or something like that. No, I've said the word. So currently my phone is now trying to search for sheriff's hats. No, don't do that, please.
Oh yeah, she could become a gold medalist in
Equestrian. Yes. No. We're currently all she wants to do is taekwondo. So she is doing taekwondo as an afternoon kind of out of school class.
Why fight in Street Fighter when you can fight in real life?
Exactly. And she keeps coming. She goes on a Thursday. Kim's now working on a Thursday, so I'm taking her instead, and it's really interesting to see the processes that they go through, how they're doing stuff, and all these kinds of things. And they are they're firing kind of new moves at these kids on a weekly basis, and it's maybe like it's not proper taekwondo. They're not doing all of the stances and all of those kinds of things because they're kids, so they're easing them into it. And it's not until maybe she's sort of 7 or 8 that she'll then go into a class which does start to be a little bit more kind of disciplined in that sort of region. But today I was just watching her, and she, they do kind of, we'll show you a move, you do it, you then run around this little obstacle course because that's fun to do, because of course it is, and they're young kids, so get them involved in doing this kind of stuff. And she did these couple of like, basically kept her leg in the air and did like a double kick, and I'm like, that's fucking so much more amazing than just being able to play Sonic.
Yeah.
So let's not worry.
Dislocate my hip if I try doing that. So yeah, very impressive.
Completely. So
She'll be doing the 5-point heart exploding trick next.
just nerve pinch my neck, just instantly dead. Or she'll just be Honda and just fucking go with her fists just constantly. But it's, it's this whole kind of idea that I keep seeing, and it is just because it's social media and I'm part of these groups, how invested people are in bringing their kids kind of into the gaming space. And that isn't just this group. There's other kinds of groups and people sort of saying, oh yeah, I brought my 6-year-old a Series S or something like that and things. And it's kind of one of those where there's this, and I think if you live within those circles, there's this kind of notion, and not necessarily pressure, but an idea that like your kids will just do this. This is your hobby. What, your kids will follow you, and that happens a lot. There's lots of frustrated, awful football players who then push their kids into playing football, sports of kind of any kind. Yeah, and it's so. I think I've had the realization in the last few weeks, like, after buying her this pad and being like, which she asked for because she wanted to then play games, and the pad was too unwieldy, the DS4 was too unwieldy for her to play, that suddenly I'm like, but it doesn't matter. If she doesn't do it, it doesn't matter.
She doesn't have to be beholden to it.
Exactly.
Like, there's so many things that I wanted as a kid or bought myself, and it's like, didn't stick with it. Yeah. She'll find her groove.
Absolutely. Yeah. Exactly that. Exactly. And I think it's just a good sort of notion to kind of live with, just being like, they are individuals. They will do what they want to. They will be interested in what they want to. And if they're interested in something, and even then, if they're interested in something, but they're not that good at it, again, it doesn't matter. If they're having fun, that's all that matters. So,
agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, as you say, it's not exactly those awful parents that you see, like, pushing their kids into, like, beauty pageantries or whatever. It's not that. It's just like, it's subtle, like, pressure that they probably don't even know that they're doing themselves. But let them do whatever they want.
Exactly. Yeah.
They want to become a master thief. Let them.
Well, I'd have no problem with that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I want a PS5. She can pay for it. Fine.
Yeah. Just say I had nothing to do with it, as I'm laundering your money.
Like, what? I don't know. She just gave me this wall of cash. I don't know where she got it from. It doesn't matter, does it? It's not mine.
There's blood on it.
So yeah, I haven't got a topic. I've not played any games this week. I just kind of had this realization that
that's a topic.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah,
it was a topic.
I'm really interested in what Aadil's topic is. We probably don't have time, but I just want to know what
we do. It's not a small. It's not a big topic. It's just So we all know that. So one of the things that's actually been really nice about lockdown easing is I've been playing Magic the Gathering as an actual gathering on cards with people. It's one of the reasons why I've been playing less video games, because I go and I've made friends of friends who play Magic. Like a friend of mine who just moved back to Bristol. He's like, oh yeah, the people I'm playing with, or people I'm living with, got me into Magic. It was like, well, that's random. Cool. So we've been playing Commander and all that kinds of other stuff. It's great. It's great, and playing an actual physical game. I love board games, and Magic, turns out, boy, is that never left. In fact, the thing that's different is when I left Calgary, I had a good group of friends who were into the game, and I was like, oh, I'm leaving soon, so I won't be super into it. And then I still played with them whenever I came back. And then the 10 years have passed, and now it's like, oh, I live in a town where people play. Oh, I really like playing. This is great. But I say this because my actual topic is that
Dead Space.
is Dead Space. Yes, exactly. No, Magic Legends was an ARPG developed by Cryptic Studios, which was announced as an MMO in the Magic the Gathering universe, and people were really excited. And then it was an ARPG, not an MMO, which Cryptic has never done, just an ARPG. And I think I spoke a bit because I was in the closed beta, and I think I spoke a bit about how it was like none of the art assets and even the spells, which could be thing you know, but with a weird art asset, was kind of close to thing you know. Like it felt like the knockoff DVD you see in the Walmart of like Armageddon, where it's like, oh my Geddons, and it's like an asteroid hitting a guy who looks like Steve Buscemi but isn't, and your aunt buys it by accident. Like that's how the whole game felt, but it was licensed. And it's technically
It sounds wonderful.
it's technically still in beta. It hasn't gone gold, and they've announced that they are shutting it down come October.
Oh no.
So it'll never hit 1.0, I'm guessing. It's sort of like is this called Magic Legends?
Yes.
Don't call your game Legends. It's like Fable Legends, and look what happened.
Yeah. But I just wanted to talk about. I mean, first of all, what the actual fuck? But also, in their announcements, they're like, don't worry, if you spent money on the game, we'll refund it. And I was like, wait, you had microtransactions in the beta, and you charged people, and the game hasn't gone live, and you're already fucking giving up? What? Like, I just wanted to yell about this, because open betas are a sin.
Yell.
You can't call it an open beta when it just means I'm trying to sell you shit without making a playable game. But also, how do you it's not launched and it's canceled. What are video game?
Play Townscapper, that's in early access.
But like what there's like 5 different ways we could talk about this, but we've kind of like it's all very obvious stuff, which is I just wanted to yell because it was let's exploit a universe or an a canon, etc., in the most brazen way possible, because we don't want to pay the artists. Because I guarantee you, the problem is you can't have a physical the magic card lightning bolt with the iconic lightning bolt art, or one of the several ones, because you'd have to pay that artist, license it for the digital medium. So instead of being like, well, we'll just have our same spells and commission new artists, we're like, just don't use any of our names and we don't have to worry about it, and you guys go play. And it's just like,
but surely all of this is kind of already licensed in a digital way with like Arena and that sort of stuff.
It's probably this is what I mean, right? Like, Arena is digital assets that look like the paper assets. Like sure, whatever this is. Actually, this is. I've grabbed a card, and it's literally not available on Arena because it's on the set that came out that wasn't Arena. Never mind.
Charizard.
Yeah, so you get a Charizard, and it looks like Charizard. Yeah. But like, it's very clear that they didn't. Their digital team did not work with Cryptic, and like one of a Magic YouTube personality, Pleasant Kenobi, like, review the game and was like, this is really strange because these are all knockoff spells and not the real spells. Because it's a really interesting idea, which is you have a deck of spells that you can build, so you can be multicolor or single color. And when you're ARPGing, every X period of time you generate picks of mana, and you also can draw a card. And so it actually felt kind of like you were slinging spells from your deck, which was really neat, except none of the spells made any sense. But also, it was a very busy, boring ARPG, so it didn't really matter what the spells were. But he talked to the developer. He was like, so are you, like, gonna get the iconic art that the people who like Magic are gonna go into, / the people who don't know about it aren't getting like. They're like, no, we're happy with what we're doing, and it's like, oh, you guys were like just sent out to pasture, weren't you? Because, like, if the object of the game was to get Magic players playing an ARPG, not having Magic assets in there is a mistake. But if you're trying to get ARPG fans into Magic, having boring, like, generic CG art that could be in any game isn't getting you in there, because one of the draws is that they hire, world-class artists and painters. Like, a lot of Magic art up until more recent years, like, historically, it's literally been people, like, painting on canvas these, like, epic fantasy moments, and then they capture those and they put them on all the cards, which is why the art is very, like, and obviously nowadays some people do it in not on paint, etc. But, like, the point is, it's like this amount of fidelity and detail, and you just didn't have these. Like, when I was playing the game, I couldn't tell the difference between my 3 black spells because they all were some sort of body with purple effects around it. So I'd have to, like, look away from the battle and squint and be like, oh, there's 2 things there, so it's not the make 1 skeleton spell, so it must be the other one. It was really generic, and, like, but I just am baffled by it not even going gold, and also having to refund people in its we kind of missed the mark thing. Like, the whole thing is just, what is modern video games?
It's like that Dota one. That was it Dota? Was it called Dota Legends? I can't remember.
Wait, is that
Dota one that was in, like, was it Dota? It was Dota-esque, I think. There's been so many failed things.
Yeah. Dota Legend was like a mobile game, right?
Oh yeah, I just want some back alley magic, some seedy back alley magic.
Not even the Gathering, just back alley magic, and any back alley magic will do.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what pickup artists do.
Yeah, why not?
Anyway, so I just wanted to rant about that. There was no, like, real conversation outside. We all agree that the system is broken.
I understand the rant because I didn't realize that people pooping money into it. I just thought it was like, oh, this died on the vine. It didn't. From what you said on the podcast, it didn't seem like anything that was going to be worth missing or whatever. But I understand the rant.
I mean, yeah,
they were asking for money. Yeah, that's a bit funny.
I didn't actually play it outside of the closed beta, like when they had their big streamer week or whatever. I was just like,
well, it definitely.
I was already bored with it. That was the week that I told you guys how bored I was with it. But I guess I missed where all the microtransactions got introduced, because I had no idea until the press release were like, "Don't worry, we refunded your money," and blah blah blah. But it's also like, oh God, there's so much money lost on this venture. Like, there's got to be so much money lost in chasing microtransactions. It's just, I don't know. It's just such a great. Here is how video games think that they can do good by just exploiting people, but not putting the effort in. That's why I wanted to bring it up.
What a shitty industry it really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a lovely sentiment to finish on this week. Let's finish there and talk about our beers. I think for me it's an easy one. There's a clear winner this week, and it is the Newtown Park and Verdant collaboration, Emerging from the Mist. It was just a lovely flavour. It was big, it was bold, it had that kind of jewel element sort of going along with it. So it had that lovely tropical kind of fruit flavour, but then also this really piney, lovely bitterness which came in straight away, but didn't drown out the rest of the flavour. It sat with it, and they both flowed along with each other really, really well. So for me, it's just a very well made beer. The Stratasphere from Equilibrium just didn't quite hit. Not quite big enough for a double IPA. Very subdued, very light in what it was doing. Feels much more like a a lighter beer, a 6% IPA, even something like a 5% pale or something, I could see that kind of flavour profile coming from. So yeah, the Newtown Park X Verdant for me this week. Aadil, how about you?
I think it'll be no surprise that I like the Two Chefs Brewing double dry hopped hazy IPA more than the Step into Liquid Black IPA. I think the Two Chefs was just really interesting. It had that pininess with that tropicalness, and it was so well balanced. And like I said, the fact that the main taste was both the sort of fruity tropicaliness and the pininess sitting on top of each other but not fighting, was really like, it's a really hard thing to do. Normally I talk about taste curves because you have to like, one thing has to take precedence over the other, and this is one of the rare examples where they kind of both just sat there and didn't fight and were great, and then the tropical fruity stuff faded and the pininess got a little softer, and that was the finish. Just a really well made, excellent beer. While the Step into Liquid Black IPA, I felt like it was just the acridity and like overburnt taste never really subsided. Like at the end, I was still like, this is doing a little. It's burning in a bad way. It's like it's burnt, not like roasted, and it kind of just again it felt like the exact opposite, where it was tropical and the acrid roasted burnt flavors were sort of fighting.
Yeah.
And the acrid burnt won most of the times throughout the taste curve. So it's like, oh, the thing that kind of didn't grab me as the taste was winning, and it was also fighting the thing that was interesting. And they never gave it the tropically fruity taste. Never really got a chance to blossom because it was just getting pushed. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, those are mine.
It's nice. Two Chefs. I don't think I've ever seen them around. I'm
going to look out for them more, to be honest.
It'd be interesting to see where we can kind of source more beers from them for, because suddenly we've had this, I suppose it is endemic of the times, but suddenly continental beers aren't kicking around quite as much as they were.
Yeah, I agree. Might be due to something starting with B and ending in T.
But
Starting with being ending in shit.
still, but
yes. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how we can get some more beers from up and coming and newer breweries, kind of from the continent as well.
If anyone,
yeah, well, that's true. Just fuck off over there. That would make sense. If anyone listening has any links or spaces that they know that we can kind of look into to do this, then let us know. You can do that in lots of different ways. We're at TactUpCast on Twitter. You can go to outoflives.net as well to see our beautiful faces, chat to us on the page for each episode. You can also listen to it there as well if you don't want to give us that YouTube view too, or you can and go directly to YouTube as well and go and subscribe to Out of Lives Network over on YouTube. I'm at Nova_47 if you want to talk to me directly. Lucy is
JuicyLoose9 everywhere if you want to talk to me directly.
perfect. Aadil is
having a yawn. I'm at the Omniarch, TheOmniarch.
perfect. And if you're watching us on Twitch and you feel and have a little bit of spare change, sub to us, or if you've got one of those Amazon Prime free subs, you can just chuck that our way. That'd be really helpful, and we'd love for you to
be honest. If you have Amazon Prime, sub to anyone on Twitch for free.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Take that money from Bezos. It's free, and it'll help someone.
I mean, he's absolutely still taking in the money, but he's not making any decisions anymore. He's stepped down from being CEO of Amazon in the last couple of days. But that's probably meaningless.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you've got that Twitch and you have that Amazon Prime, absolutely sub one of your favourite creators or streamers, because you don't lose anything from it. But come and join us in the chat if you're watching us on Twitch. Come and comment and let us know what you're drinking or what you're playing if you're watching us on YouTube or on outoflives.net, or if you're listening to us in your podcast service of choice. Give us a rating and a review and let us know what you'd like us to talk about, beers you'd maybe like us to feature, anything you'd like us to kind of consider, or come to our Discord as well, which links can be found kind of all over the place for the Discord, and we can shoot you out a link for that as well. I think that's all the beers, I think that's all the games, I think that's all the spaces and places you can get hold of us. So, we've been Tanked Up. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.
Oh, he's gone to space to make an Amazon in space.
Probably. He's trying to get ahead of everyone else.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not the best, it's just the first. As long as you're the first, doesn't matter.
Anyway, bye.
Ciao.
www.outoflives.net